Good evening, my fellow classmates. I'm Dennis DiCamillo. We're in space law with Cleveland Marshall College of Law, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about ZIN Technologies. They're a company in Cleveland. They manufacture a variety of different products that are for space. ZIN Technologies was founded in 1957. They had a name ADF originally. I'm not sure what that stands for, but in 1993, ZIN Leisure, he acquired the company, and he and his son ran the company for a number of years. In 1999, Daryl, ZIN's son, took over the company. He's the current president and CEO. When you look at the zintech.com, their website, they've got a about and meet the team, and they talk a little bit about all the scientific people, operating people, government interrelations, and they have Carly Bogursky on here. She recently left the company. She was the in-house counsel, and she left recently. Bill Spencer is now the attorney for the company. He's only been there for a few weeks. I've talked to him on the phone. He got hired, kind of fell into this, he said, and immediately they sent him off for 2 weeks of training. So he's just now getting back to the company, and I'm not going to be able to talk to him for this presentation. I'm going to play a brief video. Well, might cut it short a little bit. It tells about things. I'm going to briefly interrupt. They kind of talked about it real quickly, but they design, they define, fabricate, assemble, integrate, test, operate the products that go into space. So they will be at NASA. An experiment that might be in space might need control from Earth. They do that. They fabricate radiation hardened converters for some of their electrical systems. It's actually pretty impressive. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Some of the stuff they do with telescopes. Let me switch back here real quick. So we're talking about technology that we know that the military keeps track of personnel on the field. We have a lot of intelligence related to those communications. We've talked a little bit about in some of the modules already that when we're in outer space, the communications, the frequencies that are used to control and communicate with each piece of hardware, that's licensed. And these guys at ZIN Technologies, they're taking space applications and they're applying them. In this case, the president there was talking about their partnership with Cleveland Clinic, so they can monitor remotely patients that might normally need daily, weekly, or longer monitoring, and they can do it. They can do it relatively quickly with these technologies. They provide planning and integration, flight operations, post-flight analysis, the mission plan. It just goes on and on. All the things that they offer as far as services as well as hardware and technology. So they're also working on a project for self-assembling materials. I'm going to play that. That guy's a mad scientist, I think. So in May of this last May, NASA, they announced a little bit about that project, and they say that using different forms of energy as control knobs, scientists could embed a code at the nano level of material, giving it different instructions for various conditions. And then a quote here, essentially, in this particular case, temperature is an external stimuli to guide and help the particles bind in in the right fashion. It is one way for us to guide them or control their assembly. At one temperature, one crystallization phase is favored, and at another crystallization phase is favored. They're doing these experiments in space that will have some earthbound applications, but the idea of being able to take nanoparticles and basically create a formula with maybe temperature, maybe electricity, to be able to grow the parts that you need while you're in outer space is absolutely amazing. This is a piece of hardware that they developed, and this is a 32 time speed to demonstrate. So amazing, the things that from parts to nanoparticles. So one of the things that they're working on, space planes. So we've talked about this in some of the modules. And SNC here, they have a contract for resupply in relation to the International Space Station. The Dream Chaser spacecraft is a vertical launch space plane with the ability to land on conventional runways. So, you know, this goes right into what we've talked about with when is it, when is it space, when is it airspace, outer space, what laws apply. If this aircraft were to lift off for the International Space Station, we'd say functionally it's a space object. It's headed to space. But what if it gets up to maybe 80,000 kilometers? So it's well under our limit that we might say is outer space, and then it comes back. Well, what if it has to come back and, it flies over China? Would they be okay with that? We know that the sovereignty of each of our countries is critical to our own security. So these are currently developed projects that challenge these ideas of what we think the law should be and how people will react to it. But ZIN Technologies, they support Aerojet Rocketdyne in Sierra Nevada with the Dream Chaser. If you look at NASA, they've got a nice PowerPoint. You might be able to pause this and read the link there. I can post it if necessary. But it talks about so many different things that ZIN is involved in with NASA. And this light microscopy module, the LMM, we've had for years and years, we've had ZIN Technologies working with NASA on that equipment. And they look at, so as an example, they launched an upgrade in May of 2017, and it was on the Advanced Colloids Experiment Temperature number 6. They were looking at colloids, which are suspensions of microscopic particles in liquids. And they say in microgravity environment, particles in these systems settle 100,000 times slower than on Earth, allowing observation during days or weeks instead of just minutes, revealing preciously hidden thermodynamic interactions. The same microscope later on that was the May of 2018 when they were starting to talk about these self-assembly materials and the control knobs with temperatures. So ZIN is at the cutting edge of what we do in space. They have attorneys. Right now, one primary attorney, Mr. Spencer, that deals with the contracts, whether it's with SpaceX. They put stuff on the SpaceX Dragon resupply mission to the International Space Station, whether it's to other countries, whether it's with the Department of Defense, just to get it into space. They're quite an active, quite a cutting-edge company. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and post any questions that you have, and I'll see if I can help answer them. Thank you.